right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to the July 2025 Minnesota Astronomical Society monthly meeting. I am Waltz Treybergs, president of the MAS, and welcome you all here and everybody who is online. So as we all gather down, we're looking at a nice image by Nick Hartman of distant light and very, very close light, fireflies and the Milky Way. Really nice over the farm fields. So let's get going here. All right, the meeting agenda. So introduce the board like we normally do, get an update on our membership, and go through the upcoming Astro events for the next upcoming month. We'll also go through, we've got a bunch of outreach requests that have not been fulfilled yet, that we're looking for volunteers to go through those, and have a nice little update from the Metcalf Committee about the removal of the trees on the south side. So we'll get a good update on that. And then I will present as per the bylaws, each of the sites is supposed to do a presentation about the site, what they're working on, what the committee is doing, and projects and budget and everything. So I will update the LLCC site today for everyone this month, and talk about upcoming MAS events up until the next following monthly meeting. Camping with the Stars, Northern Night Starfest registration's open, talk about that. Then Noha will give us our treasurer's report, and then get an update from Ahmed on the meeting next month, the astrophotography meeting. And then we have a special member presentation by Mr. Clayton Lindsay. Then we'll have our public service announcements and our AL awards. And we are even graced by Mr. Jerry Jones today. So, and Jerry gets to meet virtual Jerry for the first time. No. And then our featured speaker will be Cristina Andrade from the University of Minnesota, and she'll be talking about the Kilonova catchers project. So that'll be really exciting. All right, so let's get going. So the MAS board, as pretty much we describe every day. I'm Waltz Treybergs, your president. John Zimmich, vice president, is here. Claire Weaverling is at home, I believe, this evening, logged in remotely. Noha is here. Jesse Palmer is here, and Phil is here. So if there's any question on anything board related, operations related, please visit the website, and you can contact any one of the board members right there through that address right there. All right. Welcome new and returning members. So Tracy Anderson, Javier Cardenas, Sierra Hetherington, Todd co-host, Sarah Kowalski, Stanley Liska, and Michael Schwartz. We have 722 members as of July 1st, 3 honorary, 164 patron, 522 regular, and 33 student. So, and if you've got any questions about membership, our membership coordinator, Steve Emmert, is here as well, or you can email membership@mnastro.org. And as you know, don't point laser pointers at airplanes because something will happen. All right, Astro events for 2025 July. I found it to be kind of a slow month. All right. So Mercury, greatest elongation east, July 3rd. Conjunction of Venus and Uranus, also July 3rd. July 10th is the full moon, apparently the full buck moon, if you're into that thing. On the 16th, the moon, Saturn, Neptune will come relatively close. Last quarter moon, July 17th. July 21st, conjunction of moon and Venus. The 22nd, conjunction of moon and Jupiter. New moon, July 24th. Pluto is opposition, so that's the best time to see Pluto. Yeah. Conjunction of moon and Mars on the 28th, along with the Pisces Austranid meteor shower. So I'm sure that's an incredibly one too. and also the southern Eta Aquarid and Alpha Capricornid meteor showers. So those are some dingers. Although the Perseids are starting to, by the end of the month, are starting to become more visible and more regularly in the sky. So into August, obviously the Perseids will dominate, but Perseid has a very long period, so you'll start to see some of those early on and at the end of that. So August 1st, moon at first quarter, and then another dinger is August 2nd, asteroid Ausonia will be at opposition. So find that one. All right, space missions coming up. Soyuz is going up to the ISS with a Progress cargo mission sometime this month. Crew 11 is going up on a SpaceX Dragon to the ISS. And hopefully Gilmore Space will be testing their new partially reusable rocket as well. That's a new space company out of Australia. Then the IRSO GSLV will be launching a NISAR satellite on their GSLV Mark II rocket. And then ULA is planning, yeah. Then ULA is planning a Vulcan Centaur for the U.S. Space Force. And then, as every month, tons and tons of Falcon 9 Starlink launches and ride shares and whatever else. So lots of stuff. Not even, yeah, they're, well, since not scheduled, but probably unscheduled. Yes. But as you know, the Starship upper stage blew up on their test stand, so their test stand is now out of action. So they're trying to MacGyver their main orbital launch mount to static fire the second stages. So they're going to weld on a different stand onto the big mount, like do a little milk stool kind of thing. So they're MacGyvering it right now until they fix up the other one. So until they blow that one up, yeah. So the Starship program's been delayed a little bit. All right, outreach requests. So a bunch of them have come in over the last few days, I think. So August 1st, there's a Bellwind donor event. Clayton's organizing that out at JJC. Also, there's August 16th and 17th is Music in the Trees at JJC. August 4th, there's a Girl Scout event at ELO looking for volunteers, and we've regularly helped out with that. So hopefully get some key holders out there at ELO. Mississippi National River and Recreational Area, August 8th, September 15th, and October 3rd. They're looking for people with telescopes out there in Bloomington. And then Forestville Mystery Cave State Park, Dark Sky Festival, August 15th and 16th. Also a private event in Grand Rapids area, if anyone's interested in that. And then October 11th, the Sally Manzara Interpretive Nature Center in Lake Elmo, available for volunteers. So thank you everyone who does volunteer work for outreach. And thanks to Outreach Committee and Jesse for coordinating. All right. Shout out. All right. Got to really give a good shout out to Andy Frazier, Clayton Lindsay, Suresh, and Brad Nassett for really, really cleaning up the Metcalf field. So before the southern tree, the trees in the south were just obscuring everything that really wanted to look at. So before and after is just incredible. And Brad Nassett came out with his tools and was able to redo the fence, and everything worked out really good. So 18 trees were taken down. And also want to thank Rob Rohoff, our neighbor to the south, and Save a Tree, and of course Bellwind. So it's going to be a great help for any of the events that we have, like all the BSIGs. It's going to be such a boon for that. Yeah, well, it looks like they traded trees for clouds, but that's a temporary thing. All right, so thank you everybody who helped out on that, especially Andy really worked hard on that. We've been talking about taking those trees down for at least 10 years, at least 10 years. Right. So yeah, it's a boon for everybody, not just the BSIG folks. All right, so I'll get into switch gears here and go talk about Long Lake. So the Long Lake site update. The committee members, as it stands today, I am the chairperson of the Long Lake Dark Sky Committee. Bill Kochen, David Schaff, Dick Jacobson, who's here, Mark Jobe, Conrad Sanders, and Chris Bethia are all active committee members working at Long Lake. We've done a couple work parties there, and we go up there fairly regularly. David does a lot of the coordination on the website and on the forum to make sure we have rooms to reserve enough the right kind of rooms aside, whether we need 2 or 3 or 4 rooms or whatever it is. So thanks to everybody on the committee. And so committee is strong, working hard right now on various different projects I'll talk about here. So talk about LLCC just a little bit. So LLCC is located between Aitkin and McGregor, north of Lake Mille Lacs. It's about from where I live, it's about 2 hours and 15-minute drive. And so most people either drive up on 169 or on 65 or 35 or a combination of. But it's a really good site, about 2.5 hours north of the cities. Long Lake's main mission is really education. So Long Lake's mission is to inspire the deep appreciation for nature, promote wise use of our natural resources, and foster a lifelong stewardship of the environment. And we've had a very, very strong partnership with the MAS for a long, long time, going back almost 20 years when the Dark Sky Committee really started looking for a site. And this is the current staff at the Long Lake. To the left there is Dave, the manager of that, and then there's Julia Kuhn standing in the middle, and Beth Haskin standing next to Dave. So they are the primary naturalists, and they work with the kids there. So Long Lake's primary function is during the school year, 4th and 5th graders go up there for a 2 or 3 day immersion in the nature, basically a nature camp. And I know all of the kids who go up there and into either to LLCC or about half a dozen other similar schools throughout Minnesota take advantage of that. And it's just for many of the kids, it's the first time they really encounter nature in that kind of environment. So it's just a fantastic place for that. So things happening. The next big event at LLCC is the Summer Astronomy Camp, August 2nd through 5th, and it's designed for ages 11 through 15. We've got a bunch of committee members planning to host telescopes and do some imaging demonstrations and just kind of helping some daytime activities with the kids. So that we're planning on that. It was a really fun time and fun thing to do last year. So and if you have grandchildren or children or people that you know that are interested in that might want to attend astronomy camp as kids for ages 11 to 15, that the registration is still available, and that you can sign up at the longlakecc.org website, and it's available that. The MAS also sponsors several scholarships, so we did budget for that. So for students in need, we pitch in a few $100s to help them with the tuition of the astronomy camp. All right, Northern Night Star Fest. So by the end of August, August 20th and 25th is our main dark sky event. We've got observing every night. It's going to be cloud free, and it's going to be bug free, and it's going to be humidity free, and it's going to be all that stuff, right? We've got door prizes. We've got a swap meet. Speakers that we've got lined up so far. Bob King is going to be our headline speaker for Saturday night. Mr. Dave Faulkner's volunteering a talk. Trina, Carl Anderson, Kevin Nazel, and Ahmed. And we still could take a couple other talks if somebody else wants to talk at NNSF. We are getting pretty full in terms of registrations. The singles are all done. So one thing we would like to do if you've signed up for a single room and you'd be willing to share with somebody else, it'll open up a few more extra spots because right now we've got some openings for doubles and triples only, but we can't take any more singles unless there's still some RV rooms and there is opportunity to set up a tent next to the Markham House too in that open field. So there is that opportunity. So there is some still available room, but we got that. And then of course the biggest light pollution violator gets their name on the traveling trophy. All right. All right, so projects that we're doing that the committee is doing. So of course we are working with the LLCC staff on arranging the astronomy camp activities and have telescopes there and have enough volunteers up there to help out. Northern Night Starfest we're planning and we are currently soliciting the prizes. We committed to the board that we will not ask MAS for any money for prizes. So all of our prizes are being donated. So we're going to be successful with that. Member observing weekends, people sign up on the MAS forum, and then by Thursday of the observing weekend, we can determine whether that star party is on or off, and then we can go there. And then people can go up and observe on Friday, Saturday night. The telescopes up there, the 30-inch obsession is operational and it's available for use for key holders. The 25-inch obsession is working in push-to mode right now because we started upgrading our ServoCat drive system, but we didn't when we had our work party a couple months ago, weren't able to finish it all the way. So we plan to have that done and operational by NNSF, if not sooner. So other plans that we have for 2025 and beyond is to complete the upgrade of the 25-inch and then consider whether we need a ServoCat upgrade or moving from the Argo Novice system to the Nexus system like we have on the 25. So right now the Argo Novice is working, but the ServoCat's also working on the 30, but it's getting kind of long in the tooth. We are considering adding an all-sky camera to the garage since we have full-time internet there, and then also integrate the LLCC weather station. So a little bit on our budget. So we had $1,000 approved on the budget for astronomy camp scholarships, mainly some scholarships and some activities and materials that we would supply there. We've already spent the dollars for the ServoCat upgrade. We actually had to spend a little bit more. We got approval from the board to spend a little more because the prices went up since we were quoted the ServoCat upgrade last year. And then some of the supplies ongoing on. But we really don't need any more eyepieces or any other equipment at this point for fiscal year 2025. The Wi-Fi has been stable. We've installed that last year, and we've got a Ubiquity two-way access point antennas from the garage to the main fiber source at the Long Lake office. All right, so sky quality. So this is something, thanks Chris Setness for, we've got a SQM that's constantly monitoring the entire LLCC sky. And this is basically an animation of the entire sky over the last year. And you could see when the moon comes in and when the clouds come in and when we get pops of aurora. But as you can see, we're consistently it dips down to the SQM of about -22. So, that's pretty dark. It's a Bortle 2 sky site right there, and it's pretty solid. But the SQM is available, and it's actually on the local Wi-Fi network. So imagers can actually attach to the SQM and actually record the SQM data real time in their image capture metadata. So it's kind of a cool feature that we've added as of last year. So that's the sky quality, and we really welcome everybody to go up to NNSF. It's really good time, and if you can't make it to NNSF, definitely make it up to one of the weekends if you've never been up there. We do plan on having a key holder session during NNSF. If somebody wants to become a key holder outside of the time of NNSF, we can make arrangements, and as long as there's a key holder up there that knows what they're doing and can train, we might be able to do a training session outside of the NNSF period. So any questions on LLCC? All right, I'll keep talking. I believe Suresh is not with us today, so I'll mention the beginners special interest group observing session at the newly revamped Metcalf Field. It'll be Saturday, July 19th at 8 p.m. Bring your telescope, bring your questions. If you got problems, if you don't know which side of the telescope to look in, there's going to be enough people there to help you. If you got problems with your scope, your mount's loose, or you've got collimation issues, there's always knowledgeable people that know pretty much everything about every kind of scope. So it's a great place to learn how to use your equipment. It's very casual, and as Suresh says, bring snacks, and it's fun, and it's really a good evening. And if the skies cooperate and it's good and the moon goes away, then sometimes even imagers stay until the wee hours of the morning. So it's just a fun time all the way around. So if you want to sign up for that, you can click on the calendar in the website, or you can there's a form in the beginners pages of the website as well, and you can send Suresh an email. And then Suresh keeps a track of who's coming and who's not coming, and then can arrange other members who have some certain expertise that can answer questions about that. So sign up. I mean, you don't have to sign up, but it's encouraged to sign up. All right, other events. As I said, the BSIG observing session on the 19th. ELO's has a public star party July 12th, 7 to 10. LLCC member observing weekend, July 18th and 19th. CGO member star party, Friday, July 25th. Another LLCC member observing weekend, July 25th and 26th. Then Camping with the Stars is coming up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. August 1st and 3rd. And then Cedar Creek star parties are resuming again Saturday, August 2nd. So look for details on the website for that. Then another BSIG observing session, August 2nd. So August 2nd is going to be a pretty busy weekend. And then LLCC member observing weekend, also August 1st and 2nd, but that's also the astronomy camp weekend. So the kids are going to be there. So we're really looking for volunteers that are engaged with the kids at the astronomy camp then. And then ELO Public Star Party. That's an old one. Okay. Next year. All right. And then next month, right here, monthly meeting at 7 p.m. and it will be our astrophotography showcase. All right. Key holder training sessions that are upcoming this coming month. ELO, Saturday, July 26th. Sign up on the website under the facilities area. For JJC, Sunday, July 13th. Sign up on the forum. And then CGO, Friday, July 25th, before the star party, including the imaging rig. And I know Conrad is working on upgrading the imaging rig, so that is, I don't know if it's going to be completely done then, but there will be key holder training at CGO. And then again, I mentioned during NNSF will be key holder training at LLCC. All right. Okay, open for registration, like I said. Camping with the Stars, August 1st to the 3rd. Eagle Lake Observatory, I think Doug said you got 20 or 30 people already signed up. 37 signed up. So it's looking good. So still a month ahead of that. I'm sure the committee is going to be planning a round of speakers and events and all kinds of activities. So that's always a fun event for the families. Registration happens through Carver County Parks. If you navigate through the website, then there's a link to the Carver County Parks where you can actually register for that and pay Carver County for all the fees and all that stuff. And I believe you're probably looking for presentations or we definitely not to say no. All right. Yes. Then, as I mentioned, Northern Night Starfest, August 20th through the 25th at LLCC. Registration is, like I mentioned, is limited, but we still have some spots available. But we ask you to be flexible about rooming and try to bunk up with somebody if you can. It really is fun. You're going to be out on the field anyway, observing, so who needs sleep? So see the MAS website and calendar for links for registration on that. So it's at Camp Brain registration for the LLCC stuff, and that and LLCC handles the registration.
Yep. No, but pretty much our next meeting is going to be our 6th annual astrophotography meeting. So send me your pictures. We're going to have a door prize. Just by sending me a picture, you qualified. We're going to make sure that we share the best images, but we're going to have 3 door prizes. And as you can see, it's going to be one of Andy Weir's books. Depending on which one you want to pick, if you end up winning that. And we're going to do a spinning wheel like last year, right? We're going to put in all the names and have the software pick for us randomly who the winner is. But you got to send me a picture to qualify and be prepared to be here and speak to that or online. But to win, you got to be here in person. So send me pictures. The deadline is July 31st. And please, please, please don't send me pictures the day of the meeting. Sounds good. And so, yeah, send me a couple of them. Send me your best pictures. If you want to do a time lapse, make sure it's a short one, limited by a couple minutes. Don't give me like a 10, 5-minute or whatever it is time lapse. So make sure it's a short one. Give me your best quality stuff. Any questions? Oh, yeah. Send them to programs@mnastro.org. You can attach it. If it's too big to attach, you can, share it with me in in your OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever. As long as you give me access, I'll download it from there. Any other questions? Anything online? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Looking forward to your pictures.
All right. Yes, we are. It's always a good meeting. All right. Volunteers. So ways to volunteer for MAS. So just like what Ahmed's saying, submit your pictures, submit your presentations. A new need, there's an opening in the ELO committee. So if somebody's wants to help out at ELO, please see Doug Neverman, and the committee will talk to you, and we'll go from there. All right. Always write articles for Gemini. That's another way to do it. The web team also always could use a little extra hand, either on website maintenance, WordPress updates, forum updates, maybe even some Google administrative duties that we've got to do from time to time. But just lightens the load from the web team, basically me. So please, if you've got some knowledge on any of that kind of stuff, please come talk to me. Join a committee. Join, like I said, join the ELO committee, or if you're interested in the LLCC committee, or just become active, become a key holder. That's how you can do it. Definitely come and join and help out at BSIGs. We always need volunteers at BSIGs. New members, even non-members bring their telescopes and just have questions and want help on setting up their scope and all that stuff. So it's always good. And then, of course, there's always outreach, lots of different outreach opportunities like we talked about. So we'll be able to do that and just keep up the outreach work. There's a lot of opportunities for that. Any questions about anything operations related, just send an email to info@mnastro.org. So any questions in the house or online? Yeah. I am not familiar that that has ever happened.
Program nationally.
Yeah.
Who would I talk to in the outreach committee about that?
So probably start with Jesse right here.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Good idea. Trina. Sure. Do you want to say something, Doug?
Yes, my name is Doug Deverman, and I am the chair for the ELO committee. And we worry about all the operations and all the stuff that's going on out at ELO, including the facilities. You know, we've done some things out there that have needed to be done for quite a bit. But the committee gets together. It depends on what time of year, but it's no more than once monthly. But we didn't have a meeting in July, but we will in August. To talk about some stuff and begin budgeting process. It's a committee of 7 people. And so we're down 1. Jesse, who was on our committee and did good work for us, went off the committee. She's still involved, helping us with the pamphlets, especially with the paperwork we're doing for Camping with the Stars. So it's a good time. I plan on having a good time. So, right, Noah? I have a good time when I get together. Yep. So, just come and talk to me, or if you're interested, in the last newsletter, there was an email address that you can send me a message to me, and I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Doug. All right. Member presentations. So one thing that we did is, you know, we're opening up the member presentations. If we all remember the MAS monthly observing presentation guide. So this was the Better Know a Constellation. So that's always an option, but we can talk about pretty much anything that interests you astronomy related, observing campaigns, astronomical objects, you pick and you choose, even if something's been talked about before. If you've got a new perspective on something, tell us about it. History, adventures to dark sky sites, ATM projects, stuff you're working on, stuff you're restoring, cool outreach projects or outreach opportunities. Maybe Ronald McDonald House is a cool outreach opportunity to talk about. Observing imaging techniques, software, talk about space, talk about NASA, talk about, you know, whatever, or talk about a constellation. And this month, we actually have one. So Mr. Clayton Lindsay, please come up and go for it.
Forgot Jerry.
He's after you.
Oh, okay. I think he's full.
Absolutely.
Okay, can you hear me, guys? We'll go from there. All right, start the slide, or I start the slide. No? One more time. Better know a constellation. R. My observing report from Chile, 2025. All right, so I don't know if you guys, my name is Clayton Lindsay. If you don't know me already, I've been with the club for a while. I have been to Chile before on an observing trip for about 3 or 4 days in the northern part of Atacama. That was about 9 years ago. My wife recently retired, and we took, she's from Lima, Peru, and we were going to do a kind of a large vacation down in South America. And we were going to take part of her family down to parts of Chile. And I kind of weaseled in a side trip to look at an astronomical facility because I want to do a longer trip in the future for maybe a week down there doing astronomy. So I got kind of 2 locations here. One is in an area where there's a lot of professional equipment, professional observatories, and we'll talk about that in a minute, like Cerritolo, Gemini South, store in Vera Rubin is kind of the same neighborhood. I think you've probably been to this place, haven't you? You've been to, there's totally an astrotourism business. They have for rent, or they have primarily for people showing up for like a couple of hours. And that's what I did. My whole purpose was just to check it out, see what the facilities were like, what the sky was like, how easy it was to get there, and so forth. So that was the main place that I advertised to the family that we would go. So we negotiated for 2 days there with the family to fly in, and I had 2 nights. They explored the city, and so forth, but it was a good trip. The SQM reading that they claim is like a Bortle 21.93, Bortle class 2. When we were there, it was a little bit cloudy. It was April. It's kind of the shoulder season, so it maybe wasn't quite as good. Did my notes show up here somewhere? Let me see, maybe there. The other place I visited was El Clayton Sneaky Observatory. So I was kind of in charge of renting VRBOs, and we were going down to Puerto Varas, which is right in the northern part of the Patagonia, and we were actually driving back towards Santiago. That was the trip, but I got to pick one spot, and I tended, well, when I was looking, I was like, it's going to be really nice if we're out of the city and this nice little home on the beach. So it turned out that was a Bortle 3. And I had 2 or 3 nights there. And again, this is a rainy season. When I was north, that's part of the desert. Still not great because it was starting of the bad season, the cloudy season. But down south, I expected really no observing. But it turned out to be really nice on a couple of nights. So I actually got in more hours there than I did up north. And the weather was better. So although it was a slightly brighter site, it was, I would say, equal from a session period. So why go to Chile? I love this map. I've shown it several times before over the years, the cloud fraction map. This is from the NASA Earth Observatory, which I doubt they have money anymore to put these together. But this shows over a 10-year period where all the clouds are. And you can see on the western side of South America, Chile, it's very clear, right? And most of that is because of the Andes Mountains keeping the rain out. Also, constellations. There's 88 constellations from IAU. 36 are northern, 52 are southern. You can see the ecliptic there. Why 52 southern? And that's like broken down from the equator. But they're smaller, I guess. I mean, that's the best idea I can think of. They turned out to have a lot smaller ones, and we have a lot larger ones in the north. But because of the North Pole is tilted, we actually do get to see some of the southern constellations. If we just wait enough through the night and through the year, we get to see some of the others. So here we are. This is Sky Safari. And I don't know if you guys can make that out, but that's Scorpius right in the south right there. And if we move up and look at all those things that are below the horizon down toward the south celestial pole, you see that there's a lot of stars down there and a lot of sky that we don't get to see. And a lot of people say the south has the best skies because they do have a lot of really nice things down there. And you guys are probably familiar with it. So this is another projection of that area. And so there's about, from where we are, there's about 21 or so that we can never see. From the US, you might pick up another 11 or so. But again, they're going to be on the horizon. So you've got the problem with extinction. So the best views are when the objects are high in the sky. And it's about 0.16 magnitudes per air mass. Remember, more air along the horizon than there is straight up. So at 10 degrees above the horizon, you're looking at almost a full magnitude feiner, or at least 44% feiner. So if you can get to see things higher up, you're going to see nicer stuff. So the first spot. So this was in Vicuña. We flew into Santiago. We flew into La Serena, rented a car, went over to Vicuña. That's about 30,000. The La Serena and I think it's called Coquimbo, 2 cities that have grown together. That's about 300,000. But you can see Mercury Observatory. You stay in a hotel in Vicuña. You drive up the mountain, go up about another 1,000 meters, and that's where they're located. And it's a roll-off observatory. We'll see it in a minute. But then you see the professional observatories around. From that observatory, you can see the domes of some of the others. Light, no matter where you are, even in South America, even near professional observatories, there's a lot of light. So you can see La Serena on the coast. Don't want to be living there or trying to observe. Even Vicuña, which is a very nice town. They have some cutoff lighting. Astrotourism is part of a big business there. Even my hotel had a 10-inch Dob sitting in the lobby. And there's 3 or 4 places you can go around there to see. There's still going to be some light. So this is the observatory that I went to. There's a 25-inch Dob. Unfortunately, it's not a go-to Dob or tracking Dob, but it does have a 16-inch SCT. And there's kind of the hills, the switchback you go up to get to it. They also have Deep Sky South, which is they're trying to start a business with remote observatories. So that's kind of growing a little bit, but I don't think it's really taken off big. One of the nice things about this, it does have electricity. It's a little bit rustic, but they do have a bathroom. So that's cool. That's key. And they have a warming house and a guard, and it's skated. So. All right, so this is the picture. I didn't stack these, so if you guys are taking a single shot, you kind of know where it is. You can see there's some clouds on the horizon, the Milky Way, and that big dark spot there. That we'll come back to that a little bit later. And then a picture of my family in front of the 25. And that one's stacked. Well, it's not stacked, but it's enhanced a little bit. And that big dark spot in the top there, remember that one. They really enjoyed it at 2 hours. They did it in Spanish for them. I got off to the side and I occasionally looked in the scope, but my whole thing was trying to do the binocular deep sky thing for Jerry, because Jerry's never gotten a program from me. Eventually I'll get this one done, but I've got to go back to Chile so I can get it finished. And I will tell you, side note, that list is difficult because there's so many tiny little open clusters. I mean, if it was, other things would be fine, but I don't do well with open clusters. The other spot was down in Puerto Varas. This is minus 41 degrees. And that was kind of cool because there's, if you can see the little white spots off to the west there, to the east, those are volcanoes. So when during the daytime, that was the thing we were doing. There's a lot of national parks there. We did some hiking, went up the volcanoes, had that kind of fun stuff. But it is a wet area. So it was unusual that we had a couple of good days or good nights. Again, it turned out, if you can see that little small red dot, that was my sneaky observatory business, getting it out into the green zone, right? All right, so that was a shot from the front door, out the front, in the front yard. A single shot, you can see the large Magellanic Cloud, small Magellanic Cloud, and again, the dark spot. Again, remember that. Single shot, single exposure. Maybe I'll actually get to stacking my 400-something photos and submit something by August. I don't know. It's already been 2 months. The house we stayed in, and then a better shot of the Milky Way. Again, a single shot, no processing. And you will notice that, I guess I should have spent more time wondering where it actually comes up because it's behind the trees. So, but anyway, it's good. So that was my trip in Chile. I hope to be putting together a longer 5-day trip just for astronomy that I'll open up to friends who want to come along, hopefully in February. But if you guys are interested, talk to me. So now the constellation part, Crux, the Southern Cross. Why did I pick Crux, the Southern Cross? Well, if you make a trip and you just had a stopover, that's probably the most famous constellation there is, and I would say in the Southern Hemisphere. It's also the smallest, so I don't have to talk too much about it. And if you do travel, how many have been to the Winter Star Party? I think Steve has, right? Someone has. You haven't been there? I thought you were there. Okay. If you go to Key West, you can just barely see the Southern Cross above the horizon, supposedly, if the weather's good, right? So this is, again, Sky Safari from Key West. And you can see it's made up of 4 fairly bright stars and a 5th one, which they included. So it's either 4 or 5 bright stars. It depends on if you include it. Now, Crux is kind of funny because it's it's the cross. When you go down south, there's actually a false cross and a diamond cross, and there's so many stars because this is part of the central part of the Milky Way in that area. There's a lot of crosses, and the false cross, it fooled me for about an hour. I was going like, I can't find it. It was supposed to be just to the left of the cross, and I can't find it with my binoculars. Oh, I'm the wrong one. Okay, so it does happen. This is a nice shot showing the colors. The stars in the cross are pretty straightforward: alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Epsilon is the little 5th star there to the right. And I think this was actually covered a few months ago in another Know Your Constellation. But their proper names: alpha is A crux, alpha crux, B crux, BE crux for beta crux. Gamma crux is Ga crux, GA. Delta crux, any idea? Any guesses? D crux, okay. And then epsilon doesn't have a particular name. But alpha is the 12th brightest. The reason I think the cross is so familiar and popular or well known is it's some pretty bright stars, and it's an asterism that you can see. It was originally part of the Centaurus, and for many, many years, I think it was there for people in the southern hemisphere. It was not anything special. The Greeks saw this 3,000 years ago. It was part of another constellation, Centaurus. But around Magellan and everyone else, the explorers were traveling south, they saw this 4 stars or 5 stars. It was very, very easy, and it got very popular, and it started showing up in about 1600s on the star maps in Europe. And it has a nice feature because the southern hemisphere does not have a polar star like Polaris. So if you go from gamma to alpha and go 5 more distances, which is about 30 degrees, it's about 5 degrees from the top to the bottom, you will get too close to the southern celestial pole. So there's no bright stars in that area, but that's how you get it. Now, the dark spot, what's inside of Crux? It's the smallest constellation, really. So what is the dark spot? The Coalsack Nebula, right? This is a nebula that's about 600 light years away, and I think it's let me see my notes here, trying to double check. Oh, I don't have them there, but I think it's about I want to say 70 light years across. And right above, or actually in the Coalsack Nebula, is the other bright object that I'm going to talk about in the Crux, which is the Jewel Cluster. This is about 100 stars, mostly bright blue stars, and a few bright red giants. And we'll look at that in a little bit later. But the Coalsack is cool because it was also in some of the Aborigines in New Zealand and so forth that was considered it in their constellation or their sky lore. It was either a head of an emu or a head of a giraffe. So it was one of those where it was a dark nebula that was interesting as part of the mythology. Yep. I don't need to do that. Okay, the Coalsack. Now, I did have numbers, right. Caldwell 99, 7 by 5 degrees, 600 light years away, 60 across, 3,500 solar masses of dust and molecular cold, molecular hydrogen. Nickname for some people is the Black Magellanic Cloud. You guys know about the little dwarf galaxies, the large and small. So it's not completely empty. You do see when you're looking at it with your naked eye, you do see that it's very dark. And it looks like there's nothing there really because of the contrast between the bright and very populous, like small stars all around it. But it actually, you can see through it, and you might pick out a few stars there, but they are attenuated and usually very reddened. And this is the Jewel Box Nebula Caldwell 94. It's right at 4.9. It looks like a star stellar, like when you're looking at it with your naked eye. It is really much further away at 6,400 to 8,300 light years away. Question mark. Why don't they know? Well, because it's kind of behind the nebula, and it is, they're not really sure as they get how much dust is between us and it. So they keep coming up with different numbers. It's only at 10 arc minutes. It's 19 light years across, about 100 stars. And you can see it's really popular. Even Hirschfeld said this was really popular. I think he made some thing about jewels in a coffin. But you see that there's bright, mostly blue supergiants, but there's a few red supergiants in here. And this is one of the younger clusters that we know about. They think it's only 7 to 14 million years. Anybody know what MA stands for? Anyone knows what MA stands for? I said it was 7 to 14 million years. I didn't know this either until I wrote this. It's like mega annuum, so million years. Oh, that's not me. So anyway, any questions? Quick. Yeah. 6D, Canon 6D.
All right, thank you very much, Clayton. All right, Anton is up here. He could talk about the Lunar Scope program just a little bit.
Sure. Well, this is not Clayton's slide, but I guess it is mine. So as always, members can borrow 19 different telescopes from our loaner program. There's some pictures of them. We have Schmidt-Cassegrains, we have Dobbs, we have refractors, a solar scope, and two 25 by 100 binocular. Anyway, members who want to borrow one of these telescopes, go online and click on the Loaner Scope program. There's a nice convenient form to fill out. You tell me your first, second, and third choice, and I get back to you, and we'll make arrangements for you to come and visit my home, and you get to pick up the telescope. So far this year, we've loaned out 44. There are 10 of them out right now, and which means there are still like 9 that aren't. So there are telescopes available, and even if the one that you particularly must have isn't available, it'll be back in a month. So yeah, please use this, take advantage of this program. We also have our collection of DVDs on all things astrophysics. Those are in my little den at home, and they are very much underused. But I guess for those of you who still have DVD players, right? But anyway, they have been well received, so you can request those in the same page online. Are there any questions about our loaner program?
Sounds good. Thank you, Anton.
Okay.
Weekly happenings. So every Tuesday, our secretary, Claire Weaverling, sends out the weekly happenings through our MailChimp email distribution system. So if you have any kind of new announcements or a special event for your committee or something that you want to tell all of the membership, please send an email to secretary@mnastro.org by the weekend prior, and then she'll try to set it up so it gets sent out on the following Tuesday. So all of the happenings also are logged in as a blog onto the MAS homepage as well, and those are preserved so you can actually go back in history and read the old happenings as well. So Claire's been doing a great job with that. So online communities. So we've got multiple things we can do. Slack is one of the primary things that we are really utilizing more and more. Slack is a tool for direct communication. You could do huddles, you could do file sharing. It's the astrophotographers do a lot of image sharing on Slack. It's been a really great tool. Yes, sir. Yep. It does sit in our PO box. So if you do send an online check, Steve comes in periodically and picks up the checks, and then at that point, then he updates the lists, and then like for example on Slack, Chris Setness monitors and maintains the Slack list, and then just validates against the list. So
yeah, Chris will ask me if a person is a member. I send out, back up 2 steps and punt. I send out the updated membership list on or about the first and on or about the 15th of the month. If Chris gets a request for Slack and he doesn't see anybody on the list, he'll email me. And, I see all of the PayPal ones immediately because I check that every day. The post office box, it's on University Avenue, which is kind of a pain to get to, especially with the construction on the University Avenue now, west of the KSTP tower. And so I do that on or about the 1st of the month and on or about the 15th of the month, because we only get anywhere from 2 this month or this past 2 weeks to 5 or 6 checks. So it's just not worth going there every day. So that'll sit for up to 2 weeks.
yeah, so it is relying on volunteers, but it's not an automated process, especially when you get to checks. But it's quicker if you do PayPal, but that's just the way it is. But I do believe that you're in the Slack. You're approved for Slack at this point. So yeah, it's just a one-time check, one-time validation. Yep. The forums, forums.mnastro.org is the forum address. So that's a traditional PHP BBS where the main outreach database is held, and a lot of the facility operations and operations discussions happen, and a lot of open discussions, and the online marketplace is real popular there. So MAS is on YouTube, and our YouTube channel has all of the BSIG winter presentations that Suresh arranges during the winter. All of the meetings and all of the presenters that we have monthly get edited down approximately the following week and then get uploaded to YouTube. So that's also a manual process. So if somebody likes to do video editing, that's another opportunity for somebody to do something to help us out, is to take the raw Zoom video, edit it up, and then upload it to our YouTube channel. So that's another opportunity there. And then our social media coordinator, Chris Bethia, maintains Facebook and Instagram accounts. If you've got things and images you want to post, or XKCD funny cat laser videos or cartoons, be happy to post that. If you have original content, original images, please watermark them with your name. Take credit for your work. If you want to send anything, send it to social media at mnastro.org, and Chris will post it either on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, or everywhere. All right. Mass stuff. So I announced something last month, and I've got a little bit of an update. So our Cafe Press site is still up and operational. So it's pretty much hasn't changed for several months. There you're able to purchase MAS logoed mugs, hats, that kind of stuff. We will be switching to Redbubble, and Phil has been working on the Redbubble store, and there's actually a validation process that we're going through right now, and we will be opening the store for board approval, and just to make sure and populate with all the products. But come in the next couple weeks, probably in happenings, look for new links to Redbubble, and you'll have opportunity to buy different kind of merchandise, different kind of shirts, polo type shirts, different logos. We're going to put multiple different logo flavors on there, not be even beyond just the MAS traditional standard logo. So we've got some new artwork that Jesse's been working on, and some other volunteers have submitted. So we're going to try to put all of those into the store to give everybody option. And we're also trying to lower the prices of all of the merchandise as well. Heather. We can certainly consider that, and that is definitely on the short list of things to do. All right. So hopefully that will be live within the next couple of weeks. So look for the announcement in happenings, and when we go live, the link from the website will go directly to Redbubble, and we will shut down Cafe Press, and we'll move on to the next century here. All right, Gemini. Father Brown had to delay the Gemini until this month. Normally it would have been in the June, but he had to postpone it a month. So expect the next Gemini here in the next few weeks attached to the happenings. So if you've got any articles written, just like member presentations here, if you want to write about something, I'm sure our membership wants to read about it. So if you're building something, have some experiences, you want to just recap some things you've experienced, Father Brown would love to see your articles and images. So email to gemini@mnastro.org, and Father Brown will get that article, and he'll be in contact with you and try to get it into the next upcoming article. Public service announcements. So we've got some freebies in the back. So there's an old spotting scope that was donated a couple days ago to me, and there's actually a roll of nice, fairly old 1950 sky charts. So please, if you really want to put something on the wall that's kind of unique and old, it's pretty cool. So Jerry, hold up the model the sky charts. Some really nice ones. So donated by a member last month. And then there's a little green spotting scope available for anyone who really wants that for free. All right, that's free stuff in back. Is there anybody else have any PSAs, any other announcements? Mr. Dean, yes. Okay, give him like.
Yeah, so I've been tasked by the ELO committee with trying to work on an issue we're having with the telescope in Sylvia Casby, and namely the power supply of the mount seems to be going on the fritz. So lately we've been working around that by running the slewing speed at only 600 sidereal, which seems to mostly work. But after consulting with Astrophysics themselves, their recommendation was to try a different power supply and see if that fixes the problem. So this is not some like highfalutin astronomy specialized power supply. It just needs to be a power supply that supplies about 10 amps at something like 13.8 volts DC. It's a pretty off the shelf normal kind of a thing. AP does sell them on their website, but of course they have a markup. You can also get them from the people they source them from for less. But instead of just buying one, it would be nice to be able to test one. So if anybody has a power supply like that just happens to be laying around, you're not using it, we'd love to borrow it and use it for a little while and see if it happens to fix the problems we've been having. I apologize for not publicizing that more broadly to this point. There is a post on the ELO e-holders forum, but a lot of people obviously don't see that. So, well, it's not a max current thing. My recommendation that I got from AP was that it be able to source at least 10 amps at like 13.8 volts or 13.4. Apparently the exact voltage isn't that important. It should be that's probably in the minimum end. They also sell a variable voltage power supply that will go up to 16 point something. And he was recommending, oh, you just try that and you turn it up to 16. So Apparently the inputs on the mount are capable of, as in many cases these days, capable of handling some variation in input. But sorry, Clayton, what? Oh. Well, anyway, so get in touch with me or maybe even Doug if you think you have a Doug Neverman, if you have something you think might work out. So thanks.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else? All right. Astronomical League Awards. Jerry, real Jerry, gets to meet virtual Jerry for the first time.
I like the sweatshirt. And here, that's not too bad. Well done. Well done. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all here. So about a year or so ago, I sort of threw a gauntlet down on the floor and commenting about how there were so few imagers in our club working on Astronomical League observing projects. And wow, two of them have kind of been going nuts on this sort of thing. And so the awards I have an opportunity to present today are just for imagers. Come on, observers, where are you guys? You're working on them. So, Tom, come on up. Tom has been working on numerous things. Give him a hand for finishing the solar system. And you have two of them here. You have eyes only and imaging. Would you share a little bit about the difference between those two?
Briefly, just pretty quickly, though.
Sure. Eyes only, you use your eyes, and imaging, you use an imaging scope.
Thanks, Walt. So this one, I am going to talk slowly because I'm going to read something before I give it to Doug Neverman. So this is Bob Kerr is the guy who runs the Globular Cluster Observing Program, and Bob Kerr is a member of the MAS, and he sends a lovely letter whenever anyone does this project, and this was part of this letter, and I wanted to read it out loud, even though Waltz doesn't want me to. Doug, Jerry Jones approved your submission and passed along examples of your work so I could see what a nice job you did. Since I opened the Globular Cluster program to imaging in 2016, I have received 39 imaging submissions. Yours is among the finest. I also thank you for the high quality of your overall presentation. So congratulations to Doug Neverman for the Globular Cluster imaging. Well done. Well done. Now you have to hassle Waltz as far as you can take all the time you want.
I'll talk fast. I did this program remotely. So I used telescopes that I can access online, subscribe to iPolar or iTelescope. And I used telescopes in Utah, and I used telescopes down in Australia. And so you just sign up, and then they say you got pictures, and you go in and get pictures and bring them out. I did not I took, I think, mainly 2-minute pictures, and I only took 4 of them. I would get by with 3, but if I lose one PixInsight, my tool will not handle the 2. So I got 4, and that's how many I got. And the cost about for each of the pictures, and there were 50 objects, I think it's 50 objects, is about $1.50 per minute. But there are other, you can get them cheaper, you can get them more expensive, depending upon what level you join. So there's if you want to know, then I can talk about all of the parameters that are used to figure out how much they're going to charge you.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done. And so, as I've been told that I've been saying, even though I haven't been here, get out there and observe. Get out there and observe. Or image. Get out there and observe. Or image. There you go. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, so we're going to take a very, very short break. Cristina Andrade from the University of Minnesota is here.
Fun. Okay. Thanks everybody for showing up today. We have our guest speaker here, research professional from the University of Minnesota, Cristina Andrade, and she is going to talk to us today about the Kilonova catcher, and you're also connecting this to the Vera Rubin telescope, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Looking forward to it, and I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. It is so nice to be back standing in front of the Minnesota Astronomical Society. Today, I'm going to be talking about a variety of different things. The title of the presentation is Eyes, Ears, and Telescopes, Chasing Cosmic Clues with Kilonova Catcher. And so Kilonova Catcher is a citizen science project that anyone with a telescope can join, dedicated to the discovery of the optical counterparts to gravitational waves and other fast transients. And so last Monday, Rubin released his first set of images. And when I realized, hey, I'm doing this presentation for the University of Minnesota, I think you guys would have liked that. So last minute, I decided to throw in that part of that presentation, as well as make sure to provide those images for you guys. One of the benefits of doing research with them. So it's finally nice to be able to present for you guys. I have done many presentations with astronomical societies across the country, but MAS hits a little bit more close to home. My journey in astronomy and astrophysics began in my childhood with my parents reading Stephen Hawking to me in utero, but the more formal beginning began with a mentor of mine, a member of the MAS, Russell Durkee, who was my high school astronomy teacher. And he helped me decide which direction I wanted to go, aerospace engineering or astrophysics. Several years later, I volunteered with the MAS through Normandale, where a leader of this group, Dave, sent their compliments to my physics professor. And that commendation is something I used to apply to the University of Minnesota. From there, I began a mentorship with a professor at the U for high energy astrophysics. And so my research now centers on improving kilonova detection using ground-based facilities such as the Vera Rubin Observatory, SEDM V2 on the Kitt Peak 2.1 meter telescope, the Grandma network of professional observatories, and the Kilonova Catcher Citizen Science Project. A few months ago, Dr. Coughlin, my research advisor, gave a presentation about multi-messenger astrophysics, and so I'll be connecting a few more of those dots to the world of instrumentation, telescopes. And so what is multi-messenger astrophysics as a reminder? And so how do astronomers detect things at a distance? You know, would you consider these telescopes or observatories or detectors? And so we have the LSST on the upper left, the electromagnetic radiation, it detects light. We have neutrino detectors in Japan, we have cosmic ray detectors, and we have gravitational wave detectors like LIGO, Virgo, and Kagra. How do humans detect things at a distance? We have our eyes designed to detect light. We have our ears designed to detect a different type of wave, sound. And we have smell designed to detect particles. Notice that these detectors look absolutely nothing like each other. And you notice here that there is no sense of smell, sense of taste. All right, astronomers don't taste anything. We leave that to the geologist. But multi-messenger astronomy is the study of astrophysical phenomena through different types of cosmic messengers. Just like we use our senses to detect different things, so do astronomers on a grander scale. Our eyes to the universe, electromagnetic radiation, our ears to the universe, gravitational waves, and our nose to the universe, detecting particles, neutrino detection, cosmic rays. So our eyes and ears to the universe, kilonova, and gravitational waves. And so what happens when two super dense objects merge? All right, they cause gravitational waves, and this collision releases such power that they perturb the universe itself. Gravitational waves, according to Einstein, consist of an oscillatory space warp, or a stretch and squeeze of space. How do we detect gravitational waves? So these observatories use mirrors spaced several kilometers apart to detect tiny vibrations from passing gravitational waves, or oscillations of the diameter of our universe. They are capable of detecting a change of less than 1/10,000th the charge diameter of a proton. So we're talking a very, 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 very small part of an atom. All right, we have 3 different detectors, LIGO, Virgo, and Kagra, with one in development or plans to be developed in India, and LISA, who is being developed or being built by the European Space Agency. And the LISA will be in space at the Legendre 2 point. And so here's a video about how gravitational wave detectors work. Can we hear it?
A laser beam is split and sent down a pair of long perpendicular tubes, each precisely the same length. The two beams bounce off mirrors and recombine back at the face. The light waves come back lined up in such a way that they cancel each other out.
You add them together, you get nothing, you get a zero. It's that zero. No light gets detected photodetected.
But when a gravity wave comes along, it distorts space and changes the distance between the mirrors. One arm becomes a little longer, the other a little shorter. An instant later, they switch. This back and forth stretching and squeezing happens over and over until the wave is passed. As the distances change, so does the alignment between the peaks and valleys of the two returning light waves, and the light waves no longer cancel each other out when added together in the recombined beam. Now some light does reach the detector, with an intensity that varies as the distance between the mirrors varies. Measure that intensity. You're measuring gravity waves.
The light takes longer time in here than it did in this arm. Now it takes a shorter time, and these things don't cancel so beautifully anymore.
So when thinking, okay, when thinking about gravitational waves, a question you can ask yourself is, to what extent does one event interact with the rest of the universe? And that is what gravitational waves are. So sound waves don't carry matter, but are rather a response to it. They require a medium to travel. Sound waves can travel on the air. Gravitational waves travel on the universe itself. And this is why they propagate at the speed of light. So what causes gravitational waves? How do scientists know from a non-optical messenger if there's an optical source to an event? So kilonova are a progenitor of gravitational waves. Not to be mistaken for supernova, kilonova are powerful transient astronomical events. They occur in compact binary systems when two neutron stars, a binary neutron star, BNS, collide, two black holes, BBH, or a combination of the two, neutron star black hole. And so they generate gravitational waves with unique waveform evolution and higher peak frequencies. So BNS mergers being the largest. But how do we determine if the gravitational wave that we're getting comes from a BNS, a binary black hole, or a neutron star black hole merger? And so it depends on the wave itself. So two city-sized stars spiraling into each other, neutron stars, it has a rising whoop that lasts almost a minute. It has a high frequency, like a bird call, up to several kilohertz. For volume, it's softer because the stars are less massive. So imagine a slow rising whistle that ends in a pop. For binary black hole mergers, the gravitational waves, two massive black holes smashing together. So we have a deep, quick whoop over in a few seconds. And so this frequency is very low, like a bass drum or a subwoofer, 10 to 100 hertz. And so these are the loudest thanks to how massive these objects are, like a thunderclap after a brief rumble. All right, and then we have neutron star black hole, and this varies depending on the size of the black hole and whether the massive objects, the black hole, devours the neutron star or shreds it apart. So does it automatically consume it, or does it pull it apart? There's all this matter flying. What happens first? And so it can sound like a BBH if the star is swallowed quickly. If a neutron star is torn apart first, the waveform is messier and longer. What's another optical counterpart to gravitational waves? And these are gamma ray bursts. So we have kilonova, and then we have response to this kilonova, which is a gamma ray burst, and GRB afterglows. And so gamma ray bursts are brief, intense flashes of gamma rays. These are some of the most powerful events in the universe. And they release X-rays and these occur in very distant galaxies. We do not want it occurring here at all. All right. After the initial burst, a longer lasting afterglow phase emits radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum. And GRBs are associated with the same kilonova that generate gravitational waves. And we only could confirm this recently. And why do we want to study kilonova? Kilonova help us understand how matter behaves in superdense environments. We cannot study beyond the event horizon of a black hole, but we can see neutron stars. So kilonova produces also heavy elements like gold, platinum, and these are very faint, very fast fading, very rare cosmic events. And so How do we have all this information about it? Why is multi-messenger astrophysics an up-and-coming field? And so on August 8th, 2017, LIGO and Virgo's gravitational wave detectors confirmed by non-gravitational means for the very first time, which means it was the first time it was observed. So for the first time on August 8th, a neutron star collision was detected. The aftermath of this merger was seen by 70 observatories on 7 continents and in space across the electromagnetic spectrum. And this was a significant breakthrough in multi-messenger astronomy. A short gamma ray burst, designated 170817A, was detected by Fermi in integral 1.7 seconds after the GW merger. And they actually thought this initially was noise. They thought it was a false. And then everybody was like, hold on a second. We've just seen something else. And so they went back and looked at the material. And then, oh my gosh, and everybody responded. How do we detect more like GW170817? Because there's only been one very confident event that we've been able to observe, one very confident binary neutron star merger, and that's GW170817. There was one neutron star black hole, but it did not get the same coverage. And the whole thing about 170817 was that we were able to see it across the electromagnetic spectrum. How do we detect more of it? And so this is where the Vera C. Rubin Observatory come in. This is where a lot of my research comes in. And the Vera C. Rubin Observatory is going to revolutionize the way we explore the cosmos. So Rubin Observatory is a joint initiative of the U.S. National Science Foundation and the U.S. Department of Energy's Office of Science. Many of us are familiar with NASA and its missions, but it's important to recognize the broader network of federal agencies that make science discovery possible. Organizations like the National Science Foundation and the Department of Energy play a critical role in funding the development of large-scale facilities and observatories, including the Vera C. Rubin Observatory. These agencies not only support the construction of cutting-edge infrastructure, but also provide essential funding for researchers, research institutes, universities, and individual scientists. Their investment and our tax dollars enable these discoveries, and they help us expand our understanding of the universe. And so Vera Rubin is going to be the next step in astronomy and science discovery. It is going to repeatedly scan the sky for 10 years using the largest digital camera in the world. It's going to create an ultra-wide, ultra-high definition time-lapse record of our universe, the greatest cosmic movie ever made. This is going to be called the Legacy Survey of Space and Time. Who is Dr. Vera C. Rubin? The observatory is named after a cosmic trailblazer. The Large Synoptic Survey Telescope got its name, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, by an act of the U.S. Congress in December 2019. Dr. Rubin was a pioneering American astronomer whose work profoundly changed the way we understand the universe. She was known as outgoing and personable by those who knew her and who did work with her. Faculty members of the University of Minnesota actually worked closely with her on Kitt Peak and at Los Alamos. This is Dr. Roberta Humphreys and Dr. Tom Jones. It was really interesting talking to them about her when I was preparing for the First Look event last Monday. She discovered some of the first evidence for dark matter, although she didn't call it that, by taking estimates of the speed of our galaxy and understanding that, hey, there's all this mass here, but it doesn't equate to the speed that we're seeing. And so she worked hard to support and mentor young female astronomers. Her advocacy was very crucial for her advocacy was as crucial as her scientific contributions, and she helped pave the way for a plethora of generations of female astronomers. And so we don't say VRO, we say the Rubin Observatory, we say the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, and when we address her, she is Dr. Rubin. So where did it all begin? This huge observatory. All right. The idea for Rubin began on a napkin sketch in the 1990s when a group of drunk astronomers dreamed of a telescope that could capture the entire sky quickly and deeply over and over and over again so we can be able to monitor all these changes. And so after more than 20 years of planning, engineering, and construction, 27 years to be exact, because I turned 27 on Friday, and this sketch occurred on the year I was born, all right, that dream has become a reality, and it's going to be revolutionary. So let's go meet her. So Vera Rubin Observatory is located on Cerro Pachón in the Coquimbo region of Chile at 2647 meters above sea level, about 8,684 feet. What is so revolutionary about Rubin? And it's her technology. So Rubin Observatory is the first of its kind. Its mirror design, its camera size, its sensitivity, the telescope speed, and its computing infrastructure are each an entirely new category, never before seen. Rubin has an especially innovative telescope design that will simultaneously capture a wide field, faint objects, and objects that change in position and brightness. And the head of the monster is the LSST camera. So it's the largest camera in the world. So the telescope can see a huge section of the sky, much bigger than what most telescopes can capture. And it has a 3,200 megapixel car-sized camera. It is a car-sized camera. This thing fits in one of those giant metal shipping containers, and that's how we brought it over here from Slack. And so the camera's full focal plane is made from 189 individual 4,000 or 4,000 pixel sensors assembled on 9 sensor arrays referred to as rafts. And the camera can capture 45 times the area of the full moon in the sky with each exposure. And what was really cool about the first look event at the U was that we actually had one of the engineers who did the preliminary designs for these rafts come. And during the Q&A session, he actually was able to talk about what it was like to be sitting with a bunch of astrophysicists arguing with engineers about what is and what is not possible. And eventually they converted each other. The engineers became dreamers and the astrophysicists became realists. And so the camera's range of wavelength is divided into the 6 bands associated with the filters. So from ultraviolet to near infrared, UGRIZY. And these glass filters are actually the largest in the field of astronomy, about 30 inches or 75 centimeters in diameter. Like previously mentioned, Rubin has an innovative telescope design. It has a 3-mirror system, primary, secondary, and tertiary. The Rubin Observatory's 8.4 meter primary mirror is actually 2 mirrors in one. Combining them on one surface is a very unique innovation that allows the telescope to be more compact so it can move much quicker, which means that it can take more images. It can detect more. So we have an 8.4 meter primary mirror, 3.5 meter convex secondary mirror, and a 5 meter tertiary mirror. And actually, the secondary mirror is the largest convex secondary mirror ever made. And these mirrors are enormous. The biggest one is as wide as a small bus. And these mirrors are curved as well. So what will the science look like with Rubin? What is the legacy survey of space and time truly meant to do? And so as I opened up, it's going to repeatedly scan the southern sky every 3 nights for 10 years. So starting in late 2025, the Rubin Observatory will begin to conduct a decade-long survey of the entire southern hemisphere called the LSST, and this is the primary mission. Rubin will cover this entire sky several times in 6 different filters. And so this will be a time lapse. And so over 10 years, what do we expect to investigate and understand? And so we have 4 key science areas. We have dark matter and dark energy. So Rubin is going to be a brand new tool to help us learn more about their nature and behavior. We have the Milky Way structure. Rubin will help us make the best map of our home yet. It's going to be a 3D map 100 times larger than anything we've had before. We have the solar system census. So Rubin was going to show us millions of new asteroids and comets and so much more. And also anything that's a threat to us too, because it's not like we're going to do anything about it, but it's nice to know. There's debate. But I think the only idea that's been floated around by my colleagues is that you take a few nuclear bombs on a satellite, aim it at the asteroid, and hope that when the nuclear bombs go off on this side, it tilts it enough, and that the satellite can detect it and send a signal back before itself gets destroyed. You got one shot at that. And so with these, some of the major questions to be answered are, how did the Milky Way form? What is 5% of the universe made out of? What will the full inventory of our solar system reveal? And what will we learn from watching millions of changes in the night sky over 10 years? And sometimes, and what we expect to occur is that we expect what we don't know to occur. We expect to see things that we've never been able to see before, things that are completely undiscovered, undetermined, ununderstood. And so this is particularly important to my field, which is fast transients. And so the changing sky, with its huge repeated scans of the entire southern hemisphere, Rubin will detect up to 10 million changes per night. So that means every night, there will be so many objects in the sky that will be varying that Rubin will be able to see 10 million of them. So Rubin's nightly alerts will uncover rare events. It will enable global follow-up, which means people like you guys will be able to get these alerts, and you'll get the coordinates, and you'll be able to observe with Rubin. More than 800 images of each area of the sky over 10 years will reveal these changes in phenomenal detail. And this video is an example of how Rubin will be able to look at these images. Rubin will be taking an image, we'll be subtracting it from a template from the previous image, and that's how we'll be able to see these changes and send out this information. Aliens are communicating with us, it's okay. So we have a few examples here about how Rubin can improve detection for the changing sky for transient events. And so we have supernova, we go from hundreds of thousands to millions of them. For TDEs, we go from 100 to 10,000. And then for gravitational waves and their optical counterparts, Kilonova, Igor Andreoni released a paper in 2019. I took over the handle a few years afterwards, released a paper in 2025. And so we went from 2 detections to 50. And now with the metric filters I'm developing for Rubin so that we can use them to detect and release information, we're actually seeing a little bit more in the 60s and 70 range, which is better than 2. And so when you're taking a new 3200 megapixel image of the entire southern hemisphere every 40 seconds, that data starts to add up. And so the Veracity Rubin Observatory will produce approximately 20 terabytes of data every night. And if you think about it, that's your entire cable box, because there's usually 1 terabyte of data in there. All right, your entire cable box 20 times each night. All right, 365 days in a year times 10 years. You do the math, right? So over 2 million images will be collected for the Legacy Survey of Space and Time. And so 20 terabytes of data every night is more data than 3 years of streaming video, 50 years of streaming music. It's a lot. And so during the 10-year survey, Rubin will catalog 17 billion stars, 20 billion galaxies, and millions of transients, generating 60 petabytes of raw data. Hundreds of petabytes of data will be processed in total, including simulations to test models of the universe, all made possible by advancements in computing power and machine learning. And so in 10 years, Rubin is estimated on the low end, right? Data processing will generate around 500 petabytes of data. And to put that to scale, that is equivalent to the total amount of content ever written in every language in the entirety of human history. So we're going back from that copper seller in Mesopotamia who was criticized for selling bad copper all the way to your grandson's post about his soccer game, all right? Every piece of written history. All right, who wants to see some images? Yeah. So here, yeah. So here's an image of Rubin. You see the scale and size of this. Here we have the mirror, the donut mirror. We have the camera. All right. It's a long exposure image over Rubin. We have some Chilean administrators and scientists on the first image. This is sometime in May when they took the first images. He's wearing a Woman in Science shirt and has a few different characters on it that we're all fond of. Am I on the right one? Hold on a second. Yep. Okay. This is the first image. So this is a variety of objects, from bright stars ranging from blue to red in color, to nearby blue spiral galaxies, to distant red galaxy groups. This is demonstrating the broad range of science that Rubin is capable of. And this is all one image. I want to remind you guys, that what we're seeing here is one image. And so this image has such detail that when we zoom into it, when these computers zoom into it, we can extract galaxy structures. We're seeing like less than 1% of the image right now. Here's a scale. That first image I showed you, we can now pick out various galaxies and nebula on the NGC catalog. And on the Messier catalog, the BOCOM, the NGC. We're seeing less than 3% of this image here. Remember, it would take 400 Ultra HD TVs to see a complete version of a single Rubin image. You know, that could be a citizen science project. You see the structure, you can see the stars here. One image. Yeah. I can't wait for the 3D models. I can't wait for the 3D models of the universe. Another thing in that I wasn't sure how much time I would actually have, but they're also going to be doing gravitational lensing with Rubin. So they're going to be looking for dark matter, and that's how we're going to be able to find it. So we had that dark matter and dark energy conversation with Rubin. It's one of the 4 key science areas. And so they're going to be looking for gravitational lensing, and that's when we have a mass, all right, perturbing light as it's coming towards Earth. And so now we don't get, you know, complete gravitational or strong gravitational lensing. Sometimes it's weak or it's very light. And so with Rubin, we'll be able to see them in more depth, and we'll also be able to understand, because of this catalog, all right, the mass distribution and disparity between baryonic matter, 5%, and dark matter and dark energy, 95% of the universe. Star field. I want to see Han Solo go through that one. Look at the structure on the lower left side. $40. Yeah. Ain't that something? I'm a very poised, you know, speaker. I'm very relaxed. This is like the 165th time I've counted, right? Time I've seen these images. The first time was a lot of squealing, all right? Very excited response, a lot of screaming. Yeah. And they've been enhanced. The data's there. They've been enhanced so that we can see them, but the computers can see it clearly. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the processing with Rubin data.
There you go.
They knew it was coming. Yeah, and so we have this image here, and Rubin, because Rubin is taking these 40-second images, you know, over and over and over again, we're templating them or subtracting them from the previous image, we're able to see, hey, there's something moving there, and it's a little bit close to home, and that's how they're going to be doing the asteroid detection. So it's said that over 10 years, we're expected to see millions of objects. In one night, Rubin saw like 3,000 of them. One image, Rubin detected 3,000 more asteroids and external bodies in our solar system. Say that again? I believe this is just a marker on how it's doing. It's on, so yeah, so asteroids zipping across this portion of the night sky is indicated by the tricolor streaks.
Asteroid that we've never seen before.
Yep. What's lurking out there? Because we have 2 that we've detected that have come from outside of the solar system. It was like Odamamu, butchering that. And there was another one, Bacharo, butchering that too. That's two. We're expected to see many, many more of these extra solar system bodies with Rubin over the next 10 years. All right, and now we have the first videos. Oh, there's more. There's more. That was one image, one shot. What? Yep. Absolutely crazy. And so here's another look of that Messier catalog and like all those galaxies and nebula and the galactic structure and the clouds. And so Rubin's depth, Rubin's ability to see, it's seeing, all right, it'll be able to cut through a lot of those clouds that blocks us. We've had issues with before. And that's how we're able to get 17 billion stars, something like 29 billion galaxies that we've never seen before. Is what we're expected to observe. A little laggy. Yes. Rubin? How far do you want me to go back? So my father was a Marine in 2001. And when he came back from right after the towers fell, he took me to Washington, D.C. to see the fireworks on July 4th. And we went to the museum there, and I saw a really big metal spider, and I got really scared. And we went to the museum for me to calm down. There was the dome with the lights and the stars, and I was a very articulate 4-year-old, and so I was asking my dad a lot of questions about the stars, and that's when he made the first joke about, oh, I've been reading Stephen Hawking to you since you were in utero. And when I got older, 12 years old, 10 years old, he gave me the collection of Stephen Hawking's books. Took me to New York City. My parents took me to New York City. My mom was a school teacher, so I was always getting books. Loved to read. And then I moved here to Minnesota when I was a senior in high school. So I did my senior year here. Went from Miami Sunset Senior High School to Minnetonka High School. I was always interested in astronomy. I was actually considering nuclear engineering because I thought it was interesting, dangerous. I would travel. I've always loved traveling. A bit of a nomadic kid. And then I took Russ Durkee's class in astronomy, and he put on Interstellar. And I was so moved by Interstellar and the wonder of it that I asked about the graphics and if this was accurate. And Russ Durkee did a really, really good presentation on the modeling that came from the interstellar black hole and Kip Thorne's involvement. And so he recommended me a book, and I believe he lent me his book, but I went out and bought my own. And so I would spend, I decided to stay my senior year but I could have graduated early. And so during a free period I would study Kip Thorne's book on the science of interstellar. And then funny enough, I started college. I decided to do community college first to really pick what I wanted to do. Got as much math as I could. And then I got to the U during COVID. I got a TA job for Astronomy 1001, and the professor, Michael Coughlin, who I spoke to, was one of the teachers for that class. I went to go see one of his talks. I actually sat in front of his parents, who were talking behind me. Michael looks so nervous. Oh, I hope he's okay. And so, and I turned around and I go, "Are you Dr. Coughlin's parents?" Yeah. I'm like, isn't he doing great? I'm like, yeah, he is. Like, he's like, are you one of his students? I TA one of his classes. Oh, that's so good, right? And I decided to hold off and ask my questions to Michael on the next TA meeting, which was that Friday. And he's like, send me an email if you're interested. And so I thought I had to wait after graduating to do research like this. I did not. I started doing research with him. That was October of 2021. By January, I was integrated into the project. And Michael Coughlin is actually the graduate student of the 3 individuals who won the Nobel Prize in 2017 for GW 17018, which was Barry, the individual who mentored Michael, and then Kip Thorne. So kind of came full circle there a few times. So that's kind of the whole thing. And then Michael is an assistant professor, who was an assistant professor at the time. And I was one of his first undergraduate students that he had, because he had some grad students, but he didn't have any undergrads yet. And so I kind of went and planted myself. I'm like, I really want to do this. And it's been going like that ever since. Yeah. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I've gotten to travel and go do different things. Whenever I say, hey, Michael, I'm interested in this, he'll shift so I can develop those skills. So now I have Python simulation skills. I have machine learning skills. I have hardware skills. I was sent to Kip Peak. Another cool story with that is that the 2.1 meter at Kip Peak is another telescope that Ruben worked on. And I didn't know that when I arrived, and there's a picture of her standing, which is one of the pictures here. And I was told by a friend who was there with me, if you're scared of the dark, don't be an astronomer, by the way. I had exposure therapy that 2 weeks. She told me, oh yeah, Vera Rubin worked on this telescope. I'm like, what? And then the tears proceeded, And there's one more video. There's one more video, and then I will get on with the rest of the presentation.
High in the mountains of Chile lies the largest digital camera ever built. Named after the mother of art. Tasked with filming the largest astronomical movie ever. Observing across space and time. Bringing the night sky to life. The universe awaits.
I think that's pretty cool. And so Rubin is going to be a revolution for, in particular, transient astronomy, fast transient, gravitational wave, multi-messenger astrophysics. Multi-messenger astrophysics is a field in its infancy, but it is booming and growing very quickly. We have our hands in everything, machine learning algorithms, brokers to process this 500 petabytes of data. We do instrumentation, so we work on developing these very sensitive telescopes to detect these very rare and fast and amazing phenomena. And so when Rubin comes online, fully with the legacy survey of space and time, is going to be releasing data very fast. All right, it's going to be releasing a lot of data each night. And we know how astronomers and professional scientists are going to get involved, but how can people with backyard telescopes or, not professional astronomers, citizen scientists, how are you guys going to get involved? Whether if you want to do variable stars, there's groups for variable stars, but if you really like multi-messenger astrophysics, if you really like something that is exciting, quick, and you have to be quick because kilonova rise very fast and they fade very fast. Supernova last weeks to months. You can get about 3 days to less than a week with kilonova, right? And so Kilonova Catcher is a citizen science project, and we do live follow-up. By live follow-up, it means that you can be relaxing, it's 8 p.m., you have All in the Family on, you're watching something, and your phone and Slack goes off. Live follow-up means that when a Swift, Fermi, Rubin detects something, it's a go. And so Kilonova Catcher is a community of amateur astronomers. We have 189 registered users in all continents, 159 individual telescopes with 14 remote telescopes accessed by our members. We perform live follow-up observations of the optical counterparts to gravitational waves and other fast transients. We are the citizen science arm of a professional network of telescopes called GRAMMA. And so what makes Kilonova Catcher so interesting? So our members collaborate with scientists and contribute to the field of multi-messenger astronomy through the GRAMMA collaboration. We have long-standing astronomers who are active in the worldwide community, in the French pro-am or pro-amateur collaborations, Belgium, in the UK, all across Europe and Asia, South America. There's a lot of jokes flying around. We do have a channel that goes, hey, can you make a change to the weather request? Very active, very funny members. We teach them to use the same tools we do to synthesize photometry. And so GRAMMA has developed a data analysis or image analysis tool called STWeb. And we train our members to use it. And so they are alerted to events that may not have widespread releases. They have access to events and to observe alongside astronomers. And so we have also published our amateur astronomers alongside the professional scientists. And so you have my name, you have Pierre's name, you have Damien's name, who's the PI of Kilonova Catcher. And you then have the citizen scientists. You have the other astronomers who are involved who do data analysis here. And so everybody works together. There is no disparity here. And this year, Kilonova Catcher has become a NASA partner. And so I was able to go to the NASA Science Activation and Citizen Science Conference in November. I met some phenomenal people, the lead scientists for the JWST, people who work with Hubble. And they were very interested in Kilonova Catcher because, again, multi-messenger astrophysics is an up-and-coming field. And so we became a NASA partner, and we're working towards putting ourselves on their website. And so I've mentioned grandma a few times. So what is grandma? And no, it's not a person. It is an entity, not a ghost. It is the Global Rapid Advanced Network for Multi-Messenger Astronomers. The purpose of grandma as a professional network is to coordinate a global network of observatories and telescopes for the rapid follow-up of astrophysical transients. And so we're basically a target of opportunity entity, a collaboration. And so our science focus is to detect and study the optical counterparts to gravitational wave sources, kilonova, short GRBs. We respond to alerts from the LIGO-Virgo-Kaga collaboration, neutrino detectors, and gamma ray satellites. And I haven't mentioned neutrino detectors very much, but when there's a neutrino release, there's a gamma ray burst all in the same area, especially a short one. We can, if we don't have a very strong or very confident gravitational wave, we can use those releases of information from neutrino detectors like IceCube, and gamma ray detectants to find the counterparts or as the counterparts to find the gravitational wave source, like where it came from. And so what is the scientific program of Kilonova Catcher? And so again, Kilonova Catcher is a citizen science arm of GRAMA, and we have our core program, which is to follow up on the binary neutron star mergers. We also have our opportunistic program, which is gamma ray burst follow-up, GRB afterglows, supernova, anything of particular interest. And so what's the relationship? So grandma gets a gravitational wave detection alert on our Slack, which is immediately alerted to us through a very specific channel. Right? We then have a set of coordinates. We look for the optical counterpart. We trigger Kilonova Catcher. As soon as we verify, hey, this is something of interest, either it's a GRB or a gravitational wave, and we trigger Kilonova Catcher alongside the other professional observatories. And so I'm working with a citizen scientist who can observe, who is getting images, and we're working together. What is the best exposure? What's the best filter? How often should I be imaging? So how would you receive alerts with Kilonova Catcher? And so Kilonova Catcher has a whole website, a whole infrastructure ready for you. So we have GRB alert channel on the Kilonova Catcher Slack, all right, that'll alert you guys to gamma wave bursts. And so gravitational waves are a little bit more difficult to synthesize. And so we trigger independently Kilonova Catcher for those events. But Kilonova Catcher Slack has its own gamma ray burst alert. And so most of the time, Kilonova Catcher members are functioning with the scientists, but we've allowed them to be more independent. So if they find something interesting, like the ultra long gamma ray burst that was released, that was detected a few days ago, they can follow that up on their own if grandma isn't following up on it. And they've been able to publish and release GCN circulars, right, or Global Coordinates Network. These are circulars that have information about events. There aren't papers. So it's like, hey, we detected this. We're getting information here. This is like a forum so other people can go observe. And so Kilonova Catcher has been able to release GCNs independently of grandma. And so it works both with professional scientists and independently of them. So we receive alerts via email and Slack. So a few of our people aren't entirely on Slack, so we'll send emails out as well. We have the Kilonova Catcher website, which generates an event, so you can upload your images there. You can see an example here of the KNC alert bot, which gives really good information about what we're seeing, where we're seeing it, what the proximity is. We also have our GRB candidate, and it's all very organized. So there's a thread to discuss follow-up. And sometimes, because this is live follow-up, the first detection is over here, but suddenly there's a whole bunch of telescopes in the world, not just in grandma, that are detecting it here. So we're ongoing updating those coordinates. So ongoing, we are communicating, talking, and working with our citizen science members. So we welcome new members all the time. You have a telescope that's greater than 8 or 9 inches, your game. Kilonovas are very faint, and so you need something with a greater depth. And so we're looking at an aperture about 8 to 9 inches minimum. And so how do you get started? It's really easy. A lot of our members are very, very happy to talk. You can see the 26 reply here when Anthony joined us from Exoplanet Watch. all right, which is another citizen science project. Very cool. Rob Zellum is awesome. And at that time, when I took this screenshot, it was 26. I think it ended at like 54. So ongoing conversations, they organize Zooms to help each other. All right, KNC is very friendly to newcomers. A part of my job is to help integrate people into this system, into this network. And so we help you learn the science, master the tools of the trade, help you learn to turn raw data into discovery if you're just working with astrophotography, brand new to you. So we use real observatory software to help everybody learn. And we also have a joint program within Kilonova Catcher that, let's say you're really familiar with one tool or with one analysis program, you can add to the manual. And so this is a whole website designed around helping the new members, helping the current members expand their knowledge, expand their experience, expand their skill. So one of the strengths of Kilonova Catcher is that it is a wide network of amateur astronomers using their personal telescopes for science. And so as this histogram shows, most of our contributors use telescopes with apertures around 12 inches, which is large enough to detect fast evolving transients like Kilonova. And to support this, we've distributed to a few of our more long-term members professional grade filters, the SDSS sets. And so many can now reach magnitudes of up to 21 in the GRR bands. And this is good enough for real-time science contributions. And so we recommend a minimum aperture of 8 inches to reliably participate in these campaigns. And so most of our members can reach 18 to 21 magnitudes with an exposure time of 30 minutes to 2 hours. And this is over stacks of images. And so we are actively looking for contributors. We are actively looking for new members, people with telescopes or a lot of them. And we are ongoing doing science releasing. And this is like 2 weeks outdated, but Kilonova Catcher releases GCN. We're active in the community. We release this information as we observe. And the thing is that it's done accurately. So you guys send us, you guys will observe with your telescopes. You can send us the images. We will analyze them. You guys can analyze your own images. We can compare them, make sure everything is done really well, and we can send that information with confidence. And this way, all right, you can see the skill, the ability of our members. And this is stuff that they have learned being with Kilonova Catcher, things that they have come in with. We have a plethora, a variety of years of experience with Kilonova Catcher. And again, Kilonova Catcher follows live science. They participate in publication with the professional scientists. We were in group chats together. We were on Zooms together discussing and analyzing data. And this was in 2023. This is a paper I organized of a thermonuclear runaway and a carbon-oxygen white dwarf that exceeded the standard star car mass. So a white dwarf was accreting mass and exploded. And we were able to observe it for a very long time, about 105 days, I believe. So it was type 1a supernova. 30% of the data in this paper came from Kilonova Catcher. Half the names on this paper were citizen scientists. And this was an international collaboration. This wasn't just a group of Americans or a group of international citizen scientists. This was the French, the Chinese, this was the Brazilians all working together. We were able to release 2 papers with these observations. Another paper came out this year about Kilonova Catcher's contribution to observing of a variety of different gravitational wave events and how we do that as well. And you can take QR codes. I also have these on the Kilonova Catcher Forge and website, which I will also provide in a moment. But I want to invite one of my favorite astronomical societies, some of the most active and experienced members, to join Kilonova Catcher. You get to work with a character like me and a bunch of characters in this group. Very active members, very happy to participate. And I would love you guys to use your scopes to contribute to my field of science and hopefully to become your field as well. You can use this to get an email follow-up of all this information, all these links. You can find our SciStarter. You can join our Slack and start talking. I also have my email and the KNC email, which is me, on this QR code as well. I'll send this information to Vault and to our program lead, Mr. Reed over here, so you guys can follow up as well. But join Kilonova Catcher, citizen science project that anyone with a telescope can join. dedicated to the discovery of the optical counterparts to gravitational wave and other fast transients, and be able to use Vera Rubin data quite shortly. Thank you. Any further questions? Yes. Time to do the laps.
Camera type.
CCD.
We have both. There's a whole argument between CMOS and CCD, but they collaborate with each other, so we're fine.
You spoke about the detection of the heavy elements in some part of your slide.
Mhm.
Can you explain a little bit more about how that's detected?
So Kilonova are thought to produce some of the heaviest elements in the universe, gold, platinum, etc. And we do spectroscopy that way. So we'll find the spectra of an object, and usually spectra is a very specific pattern of light across and that pattern determines what element it is.
So you mentioned that Vera Rubin generates 20 terabytes of data per night. How do they get that from South America to France in a reasonable amount of time?
Very, very large computers. You probably actually find that it's their own system. It's a huge system. Let me see if I can find. And so the global data journey is pretty extensive. So data will travel from the observatory to Santiago, then to the SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory in California. And laboratory doesn't just mean like chemicals. It's large, these very large computers. And obviously very large computers require a lot of, heat sinks and burning prevention. So these large laboratories full of computers that will process this data. That's how they're going to be able to identify changes and issue alerts for all of these, changes per night. And then data will be then sent to Europe for further processing, sometimes after an embargo period, depending on what's seen. And so this happens, they started at a minute and they've cut it down a lot. I don't know the exact term, but I think it's like very, very small. Yes.
What's the data release schedule? Guide does data releases every couple of years. You guys something similar for?
So
Rubin?
data release now is still being discussed. I know because I get about 30 emails from Rubin a day for it. And so how data will be released and what aspect is still up for discussion. General, the stars and galaxies that everybody's familiar with, it will probably be released immediately. Anything of greater interest, that's where this embargo period comes in. But there will be online platforms for educators, citizen scientists, pro amateur astronomers to be able to access and use. There will be portals for that that Rubin will have for me. Nico had a question.
Oh, I just wanted
to. Okay, cool.
Any questions online? Okay, none online?
No.
All right, thanks, Cristina.
Yeah.
It was a very
welcome.
fascinating talk. All right, we are wrapping up our evening for tonight, and if you want to join us at Pizza Luce, that is available. So if you want to join us at Pizza Luce, that's our thing. Oh, and remember to send Ahmed your pictures for the astrophotography meeting next month. Thank you.